Looking for a hit movie? How about a movie about a hitman who's tired of doing hits for people who hire hitmen? So as a way to hit back, he hits the guys who hired him because contracting out hits is bad. Throw in some hit actors, and you have yourselves a movie that's all to hit. Too bad the critics couldn't give a hit about it, but that's okay, because we're about to prove to you that Mr. Right is not that bad. Welcome to It's Not That Bad, the podcast that looks for A grades in B movies. We took a week off because Carrie was feeling a little under the weather, but she's back on the microphone for this week's episode. Carrie, how are you doing today?
I'm okay. Ironically, this movie has always been my go-to when I'm feeling not 100%, let's say. So it's just perfectly ironic that we had chosen to do this before I got sick. I think it's actually the fault of the movie.
It is. It is completely this movie's fault. I'm just sitting here and I can fully attest to this because as the guy who usually has to work all four remote controls in order to get something on the TV for Carrie when she is sick. And yes, there's about 4 different remotes, which is why she's like, honey, can you put the movie on for me? This is the movie. This is her sick movie. So when you realized, though, that Mr. Right actually qualified for the show, your initial reaction, aside from was
very, very sad. Although in researching, I am seeing that there's a great difference between the critic and the theatrical release and the reception on Netflix. So I'm sure we'll get to that later. However, if you haven't seen this movie, please, friends, you need to watch it, especially when you're sick. I don't know. It's something comforting.
You sound like one of those clickbait articles on Facebook. Right? You know, it was a box office bomb, but it's found a second life on Netflix. What movie could it be? And then you just click on the comments, say, save yourself a click. It was Mr. Right. But yes, it has kind of found itself a second life on streaming. But before we dive in to Mr. Right, it is time to take this comedy and trailerize it.
When a woman tells you she's a T-Rex, run like you're in Jurassic Park. When a professional assassin shows up at your door with a clown nose on, run like you're in Stephen King's It. And when Tim Roth gets assigned to hunt you down and deal with you, run like someone asked you to watch The Incredible Hulk. Sam Rockwell stars as Francis, but don't call him that, as the Mr. Right to Anna Kendrick's Martha. A girl so lost, she hid in a closet for 2 days with a lot of booze, only to come out, get into a cat fight with an actual cat, and hook up with some rando at a convenience store. Modern dating at its finest. You'd be wrong to miss out on Mr. Right. Rated R.
True story about the cat fight.
There is
with cat ears, no doubt.
I feel like that's the most spoilery trailerized that we've kind of done, and kind of given away the plot, or at least the setup for everything.
Well, there you go. We have nothing more to say.
It's like Sony did the trailer. I don't know.
Fastest. It's not that bad ever.
There you go. The movie's fun. Thank you. Good night. No. So this movie stars Anna Kendrick, Sam Rockwell, Tim Roth, Anson Mount, the trio of letters that is RZA, James Ranson, and Michael Eklund. It was directed by, and I'm going to apologize if I ever screw up a name, because I'm pretty sure if I'm about to screw up a name, it's this one here. It was directed by Paco Cabezas. He has only directed one movie since this movie, and that was 2019's Adios. But he has directed shows for Penny Dreadful, Deadly Class, Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, and Fear the Walking Dead. So Paco's good at directing. Paco has a really, really good filmography here. It was written by Max Landis. Yes, the son of John Landis, who also wrote American Ultra and Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, at least the screenplay of it. The book, of course, was written by Douglas Adams. The funny thing is, those two, like if you actually go in and do like a deep dive, American Ultra, Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, and this movie, Mr. Right, it could be argued that they're actually in the same cinematic universe. It's kind of like the Red Apple Cigarettes rule of every single Quentin Tarantino film. He also wrote the screenplay for Victor Frankenstein. This film, as far as the budget goes, had an $8 million budget. Now, this is where we have to lower our voice and speak in our frowny tone, because it made less than $1 million at the theater. Less than $1 million. It made less than $50,000 domestically. When it debuted on the North American box office charts, it debuted at 53rd. 53rd. Now, there is a huge asterisk on this one, because when it debuted, it only debuted on 35 screens. That's it. That is it. Like a big budget, comedy film will probably come out on about 2,000 screens. This debuted 35 screens. That's it. That's it. So that $50,000 is, broken up over only 35 screens. So that's actually not that bad. What surprised me though was where this, because it made less than $1 million in North America. What surprised me was where this movie made its money, because like I said, it was an just under $1 million worldwide. The United Arab Emirates was where this movie made the most money. I'm not going to lie, I am really, really surprised about that. Cool thing is, budget be damned, obviously this film did have its likes, because it was nominated for 2 Teen Choice Awards that year. It was nominated for Choice Movie Comedy, and Anna Kendrick was nominated for Choice Movie Actress in a Comedy. So, those who liked it seemed to like it. However, the critics did not. Now, this was, this is kind of like one of those borderline movies, because the tomatometer on this one is only a 44% with an audience score of 56, and over on Metacritic it has a Metascore of 52. So this is kind of one of the better rated films, but yet still qualifies as far as our criteria for what constitutes a movie that qualifies for this show. 44% though to you, Carrie. Is that too low for this, or is this just one of the things where it's like people were just like, I didn't watch it, and 50,000 domestically says people didn't watch it?
There's so much to unpack here. I can only guess that maybe the critics went into it expecting something different, and I don't know, maybe it was the light tone or the quote unquote chaos from start to finish, which, was something that drew Anna Kendrick to the project. I mean, she absolutely loved that her character, Martha, was such a psycho. And I mean, the pairing, right? Kendrick and Rockwell were just brilliant. Like, I actually want to see, if you've ever seen a pairing on a movie that you want to see, transpire in real life, I would love to see them as a couple. Like, I just think they are the cutest. They're both quirky and fun, and I just love them. And, it left me wanting more of this movie. And how many times have I watched it? I don't know, countlessly. So I keep coming back to it. I think as a critic's standpoint, maybe there was just too much. Maybe it was the R rating on something that should have been a rom-com. And again, somewhere along the way, the message got twisted. I don't know. I mean, I love it so much that I personally cannot find a justifiable reason for it to be sitting so low. And granted, it's only 5% less than 50, but still, okay, 6. Math is tough.
Math is hard.
Like, I don't know. I love the movie. And I am here to defend it.
When you see certain actors and actresses on a bill, you kind of have a mental image going into it before you even see the trailer of, what to expect from their performance. And you look at Anna Kendrick and, movies that came out around the time, you're looking at maybe Pitch Perfect. You're looking at more of those, quirkier comedy films. And, like you said, this one's got an R rating. And I'm not saying that Pitch Perfect was, everyone's happy and it's like Disney-esque because there's a little bit of crass humor in there, but I wonder if they're like, nope, she went full psycho in this one. And then this, of course, is also before A Simple Favor came out, and she had explored a little bit more of the darker side of what she can act. But yeah, I could see people going in with certain expectations and then having them completely thrown out the window. But let's get to the breakdown of this and see where this 44% comes from. And we're going to start with Francis himself. Sorry, not Francis. We're not going to call him Francis. Sam Rockwell. The funny thing is, when you watch Sam Rockwell on screen, like, this is Sam Rockwell to me. Like, it's funny. As I was doing my research, I just, randomly Googled the following sentence: movies Sam Rockwell dances in. It was a long list. I'm not going to lie. Like, if you think about Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, Iron Man 2, Charlie's Angels, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, like, he is, I almost want to say, as far as being a nimble, lithe, dancing through every scene kind of actor, it's almost like Sam Rockwell is the, American David Tennant, if you will, just because, he dances into a scene. Like, he just eats up it's such almost like a magical musical performance when he's on there. And this, to me, is what I expect out of a Sam Rockwell film. And I'm not saying he can't do serious. I'm not saying he can't do a drama. But if I'm putting my money down to watch a Sam Rockwell film, knowing it's a Sam Rockwell film, this is the Sam Rockwell I want to see on screen.
1000%. And I absolutely support and applaud the American David Tennant reference because you know what? Yeah, he really is. And you're right that I tend to look at this movie, not that I look at Sam Rockwell as a hitman. However, this character of Francis is like exactly how I would picture sitting down and having lunch with Sam Rockwell. Like, I think the goofiness is there, the dancing through life, the pure joy in every day. Like, I completely, I do see this movie being, I don't know if he was acting or if he was just, being himself.
I think that's it. Like, he kind of jumped into the role of Francis, and rather than acted Francis, he just was Francis. And it's one of those things where, there's this whole thing with Francis where, by the way, I would normally say caution spoilers, but I was already really spoilery in the trailer eyes, so you.
So it's out there. The storyline is out there.
It's just out there. But it's one of those things where there's this thing where when Francis goes to actually, just before he's about to kill someone, he puts this foam clown nose on, and the whole thing is it's kind of fun for everybody then. I don't know that many actors out there that could pull this off and make this seem like a rational quirk of character. Maybe a David Tennant could pull that off. It's just, I now though, I just need to manifest this into reality here. I need Sam Rockwell to appear in a third season of Staged, and I need David Tennant and Sam Rockwell on a Zoom call, and I would just watch that scene over and over and over again, because that would be fantastic. But there's just something so inherently fun about the energy that Sam Rockwell brings, not just to this role, but to most of the roles that he jumps in, that makes this whole putting the clown nose on before he's about to knock you off there believable. Well,
I think too, even the charisma, right? The scene in the convenience shop where he meets Martha, Anna Kendrick's character, for the first time. I mean, he makes no bones about it that he's clearly, crunching on her hard, and they've just met, and he's like, oh, wait, creepy? Just completely self-aware of like the situation and how he presents himself. And it's just like, you know what? There is just something completely charismatic about his character. And I think that genuinely is Sam Rockwell. I've never met him, but I could definitely see. Actually, I did watch an interview. Both of the main actors were promoting this movie before it launched. And, just to see the dynamic between the two of them, it was fun. They were doing a game where it was the host was reading tweets from Anna Kendrick's social media, and Sam Rockwell was supposed to try and guess like the blank from the tweet. And it was just so much fun to watch. Like, you could just tell that they must have had an absolute blast making this movie.
That's the thing. Like, I mean, Anna Kendrick really comes across as one of the better comedic actresses out there today. And Sam Rockwell is just this, I can't even say chameleon, but he can pretty much jump into any role. Like, I'm not going to lie here. When it was announced that he was going to play Zaphod Beeblebrox in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I had concerns because The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, to me, is one of the best works of British comedy out there as far as a book goes, as far as a radio play goes. And I remember watching the BBC series when it was on, and I probably just dated myself. Yeah, I did. I dated myself. But if someone's going to jump into a role as iconic of the genre as Zaphod Beeblebrox is, you really have to step up to the role. And I will give Sam Rockwell full credit. He absolutely killed that to the point of, I think there's only one person in Hitchhikers that I would recast. It's not Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell earned, got his spot, earned that spot, and just soaked in all that was Zaphod. And then with Francis, it's you have a hitman who has a sudden change of conscience, and instead of finishing off the assignments or the contracts that he takes, he basically flips it and kills the people who hired him because killing is bad, even though he's killing them. And it's this weird moral logic that he's taken in order to be able to do this. But again, his personality makes this believable in a fascinating kind of way.
His moral code.
Right? Which it seems very Dexter of him, but way more fun than Dexter, that's for sure. Let's move on to Anna Kendrick, Martha. Kind of like at first was kind of like the manic pixie dream girl of this whole thing, but I never thought I'd say Anna Kendrick, like crazy Anna Kendrick, is almost like the grounding force for someone in a movie. But crazy Anna Kendrick is the grounding force for Francis in this in a weird kind of way. And again, it's one of those things where Anna Kendrick has this ability to go from crazy to serious to romantic to funny to she's able to cover all the bases in a way that not a lot of actresses in the genre can pull off.
See, I look at it differently. I look at her character and her meetup with her Mr. Right as being not grounding, but freeing and almost encouraging and supporting herself and her character. Like, because really, even by the end of it, she let her crazy side go, you know, and they were the perfect matchup because they clicked and they connected, right? Like, I don't think that she was necessarily grounded. I think their relationship was what she needed to thrive.
Like, just to give you an idea of the character that she plays, like the movie pretty much opens up with her making a meal for her man. She's going to surprise him and sit there in, like, you know, one of his shirts and, you know, like being all sexy on the couch and waiting for him to come home. And when he does, he's got another woman, and it's like, oh. And then it just kind of spirals down from here. And, you know, the fact that she ends up as, you know, as manic and crazy in the end as she is, you actually see the transition from lost and rudderless to all of a sudden, like, Francis is her path. And the fact that you actually see like that transition, and the funny thing is, like, here's one of those tropes, right? Because you got a movie that's an hour and a half, and then for someone to go from, you know, I'm locked in the closet with a bunch of booze for a couple of days, and this is how I'm dealing with my sadness and heartache, to at the end, she's taking out, you know, mafia, hitmen, and the whole works. Like, how does she get from point A to point B? But they smartly actually had her doing a lot of those skills beforehand. You know, when she throws the champagne bottle at the ex-boyfriend, it is dead to rights, dead center, right in the middle of the forehead. Like that is, you know, dead shot accuracy. You know, when she's cooking up, she's tossing the knives around, like, very, you know, like samurai style kind of thing. Like, there was just the mannerisms that she was able to pull off that were subtle enough to the point where you sit there and say, okay, well, maybe there's you know, there's an inherent talent. Maybe there's something in there. And then there's the whole scene where, you know, Sam Rockwell's talking to her about this energy that's there, and the whole, like, their hands are moving together in perfect parallel symmetry to each other before they start tossing knives back and forth and whatnot. And there's just something really magical about that moment, and just her ability to transition from that heartache at the beginning to that stab you in the heart kind of thing at the end. It's a wonderful transition that she pulls off very well.
Again, I think it's, you know, I don't know, there's a word for it and I'm completely head stuffy, but their relationship was karmic. It was meant to be. I mean, he definitely completed her and he was her Mr. Right. Like, all of these traits that she was exhibiting before, right? The knife play, the being just a little slightly off kilter. And I think it was all, you know, the horrible breakup was all relevant. It was all so important to lead her to meet her Mr. Right. And I mean, even their progression of their relationship, I mean, obviously for the sake of the hour and a half movie. However, like, their first or second date, I'm not quite clear on the timeline, but, you know, it was in a children's amusement park, right? I don't know if it was mini putt, but definitely they're in a children's theme park. And the fact that, what was that sniper thinking, you know, attacking them in a place where obviously there's families and children around? That's just, that's bad.
That's Joker level.
That is
evil.
Uncool right there.
Right. The funny thing is, you know, as you're watching them through this, right, and, like, he's never lying to her at all. Like he's saying it in a matter of fact way that anyone who listens to it the way he says is like, oh, you're joking. Yeah, you didn't really go out and kill someone in the parking lot. No, I get it, right? But at no point did he ever lie to her about it. And it's one of those things where, as it's almost like as she's watching him try to come in and protect her from the everyone that's now starting to descend upon them, it's like she's all of a sudden realized that no, here's a guy that never lied to me, was open, whether I believed him or not, that's secondary to it, and cares enough to put himself in harm's way in order to protect me. Like it's this is beyond me cute. This is a strangely devoted guy and a very lost girl who's all of a sudden starting to find her way through the most insane of circumstances. It's kind of a sweet movie, even though they're killing people.
All I can say is thank God you're not a hitman, because, he really brings his work home with him at the end of the day. And I don't know how I'd feel about dragging, bloodied bodies through our apartment. So she really handled it with style. I think there.
I can't kill, I can't dance, and I don't even have a clown nose anywhere in the house. So I am 0 for 3 on this one here. Let's talk about Tim Roth here. And this is not the first time we've talked about Tim Roth on the show, because of course he was in 4 Rooms. By the by, if you happen to be, listening to this podcast and you want to hear us talk about Tim Roth and just, expound lovingly on what he can do on screen, go listen to that episode. So now we're going to expound lovingly about what he can do on screen in this movie. There is, as I was watching his character, and I recognize the motivation for his character is different from the reference I'm about to bring up, but it reminded me a little bit of Willem Dafoe in Boondock Saints, in that with Boondock Saints and Willem Dafoe, here was a cop who was chasing down these 2 guys, yet at the same time admiring what they were doing and almost actually agreeing with their philosophy. In Tim Roth, in this movie, you had someone who actually trained Francis in how to kill and being as good as he is. And even though it's his job to kind of bring him in and bring him back into the fold, there's still an admiration and a respect out of it. So it's not like he's going in, like I'm here to kill you now. No, he's here to bring him back into the fold, respecting everything that he does and everything that he knows and everything that he can do. There's a really cool parallel there, even though they are 2 very different genre films.
What I loved about Tim Roth is how he can change his voice, his accent, to suit different characters. Mm-hmm. I think he's absolutely brilliant. And that was something that I've read about him in the past, that was kind of almost his coping strategy as a child growing up in school. I think his family moved a lot, and he picked up different dialects of accent very quickly. And I think that was more to get along at a new school. And so that's the trait that has definitely suited him well in his acting career. He's just so great. And P.S. love the little tip of the hat to his character, Mr. Orange, where he puts on the ring as he's getting ready to go undercover as the CIA op. So that was a nice little add-on that I kind of giggled when I saw him. Like, yeah.
That's the thing too. Like, if you take a look at Tim Roth's filmography, there was a list of amazing films in there. And the funny thing is, if you're just gauging someone's filmography based on the critic score, or on the the tomatometer, if you will, don't sleep on this film. Like, and he is the perfect guy for that role, because it's not this isn't a vendetta. This isn't a manhunt. This is someone who's sent out to bring home someone back into the fold. I think what really, as we rewatch this, and I had completely forgotten about this scene too. It's when they try to track him down in the hotel, and Tim Roth's about to go out there with the four guys and and track him down, and just the way they're preparing for it, and they're getting all like macho alpha male kind of hyped up, and he's like, no, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. No, he's going to eat you alive, and he's just kind of watching everything in the truck, all the signals as they go dark and whatnot. It's just such a fascinating case. He's like, yep, no, I know you're going to go get killed, and I don't want any part of this. So you go in there by yourself, and I'm just going to sit here and call play by play.
I love the scripting though. It was exactly what you would picture of Tim Roth's inner dialogue coming out, where the female of the group was killed, and he's like, oh, too bad, I liked her. Right. Like it was just so perfect. I think, and you know what, not just Tim Roth's dialogue, but the dialogue, the connection between the two main characters as well in their courtship. Kudos to the writing team on this movie.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Sophie here, Anna Kendrick's friend in the film, played by Kate Nara. This one surprised me because she has not acted since this movie.
Right. What's up with that? She
Right?
was so great. Like, I could see her as being very similar to, oh God, sorry, I've gone blank. I could see her being very similar to Cameron Diaz.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought she was wonderful. I would love to see her in more movies.
So there you go, Katie Nara. Like, get back to acting. You were awesome. But it's funny too because at the start of the film, because of course Anna Kendrick is dealing with the heartache and booze in the closet kind of level, and it's almost like there's a reluctant need to take care of. When someone's just they're just in self-destructive mode, and you're like, you're being such an ass, but I'm going to take care of you, and I'm going to go clean you up and probably hold your hair over the toilet bowl or something like that. And then of course the transition, as Martha is starting to realize that no, I want to kill people. I want to do this. I want to be with him, kind of thing. It goes from like, I have to take care of you to, what the f- are you doing now? Like just this almost like reluctant best friend to this manic ball of energy that is Martha in this.
Now, was she legitimately a best friend, or was she the roommate? And then the other redheaded actress, I'm sorry, I don't know her name, but she was kind of the best friend.
See, no, I think the redhead, the one where it's because Sophie's like, it's okay, just don't make eye contact, kind of thing. So it's almost like the redhead was Sophie's friend, and it's like
Exactly.
I'm sorry you have to watch, kind of deal with this, but no, like it's almost like Sophie is designated best friend at the time, designated the the drunk watch, if you will, because it was just so much fun to watch her this, and really just as the crazy's going on, just the what the like, seriously, it's such a I don't know why. I really don't know why she isn't acting anymore. And I don't know if it's a personal choice. I don't know if the roles didn't show up, but trust me when I say, you watch it and you sit there and go, yes, I would like to see her in more films.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay,
let's get to the bodies, shall we? And we got to start with Steve, as played by RZA. I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced. If it's RZA, no, RZA. We'll go with RZA for now. I just love the fact that he feels like almost like a Craigslist contractor for mafia guys, and it's funny because he's the only one who ever gets the drop on Francis, and I think it's because he really just is completely out of the fucks to give as far as I'm here for a job. It's $5 is $5, right?
I loved the scene where he could have off Francis, and he's like, man, I like you more than I like them.
Right?
with his Elmer Fudd gun.
He's so the hired hand in this. And it's literally like, this is a paycheck. This is literally a paycheck. But you actually talk to me like I'm, and that's the funny thing too. That's, that scene and that connection doesn't work if RZA doesn't pull this off as very much an apathetic, obstinate kind of contractor, and if Sam Rockwell isn't as just like infectiously lovable in this film,
totally charismatic. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is like even when he showed up at the woman's apartment, right at the first main scene, his first I don't know if it was a turnaround kill but anyway, the concept is, if you haven't seen the movie, I'm about to spoil it up for you, but Francis was hired to kill this woman's husband. He was supposed to go somewhere else, I don't know, another state, go and kill her husband and do the job. But his moral code made him have a turnabout, and he turned up at the woman's apartment and said murder is wrong, and then proceeded to kill her. That scene, right? Even when he's talking with her and he's like, remember you asked me to go kill your husband? Well, I'm here, and murder's wrong. Like, just as he's explaining his motives, he is just so damn likable. Even though he's going to kill her, he's so likable in it. And I think that was his connection with Steve, obviously with Martha. And I think, too, that's why Hopper, in the end, he could have, he could have ended Francis, but he didn't want to. Like, he wanted to, but he didn't,
I'm going to flash back to something I said earlier when it comes to RZA, okay? And let's see if you agree with me on this one. I said earlier in the show that there was only one person out of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie that I would recast. It's Mos Def as Ford Prefect in that film. He's just was not a good Ford Prefect. Like, everyone else nailed the role. Everyone else got it. However, if you put RZA in the role of Ford Prefect in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and again, this is nothing against Mos Def. I just think that RZA would have been a better fit for, like, what he did in Mr. Right. That would work well, I think, for Ford Prefect.
I always wanted to see Don Cheadle in that role.
Oh, that would be good too.
Yeah.
Oh, Don Cheadle would be so much fun. But like not War Machine Don Cheadle, but like Crazy Hopped Up on Molly in Space Jam 2 Don Cheadle. Like that one. That's the one that needs to be in Ford Prefect. Let's talk about Vaughn and Richie, the brothers. They're the guys running the crime scene on this one. Gonna start with Richie, as played by Anson Mount, which is kind of funny because I'm about to spoil something here, by the way. So if you have not seen Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, take your headphones off of your ear for the next a minute, and just go la 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 for 1 minute. Okay, ready? And go. So Anson Mount, of course, returned in Doctor Strange as Black Bolt. Didn't last long. So sorry. Okay, now you can come back from going la 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 la. But I really liked Anson Mount as okay. Let's call it like it is here. The Inhumans TV show was the only time Marvel ever made a massive misstep. It's a steaming pile. But it's not Anson Mount's fault because Anson Mount was actually a very good Black Bolt. Here, it's funny because he kind of goes to that opposite side. A, he talks, but B, it's like he's really good as this crime boss who's trying to mentally deal with his anger issues, and it's just there's the play back and forth between him and Bruce where it's like, yep, no, I'm just control. I'm not gonna hit someone. Like, it's just fascinating. Like I almost want more of Richie's story to find out why he's at this point where he's trying to control his anger issues.
Well, I mean, his brother is clearly has a chip on his shoulders and quite angry. So you almost have to wonder their dynamic growing up.
You're thinking Vaughn is the reason why Richie has anger issues, don't you? I'm starting to think that. I'm starting to wonder because it is because of course it's a family dynamic. Of course, they're like, we gotta tell dad. Don't tell dad, right? Like it's two battling brothers kind of thing. But Richie, of course, is the one kind of running things, and Vaughn is the one who thinks should be the one running things. Vaughn, of course, is played by James Ransone, and I actually really liked him in this role too. Like the playoff between Vaughn and Richie, like it works so well in this because it creates that other level of dynamic and dysfunction on the baddie side of things.
I have to say, I loved the disclosure when Francis was like, "You wanted me to kill your brother, right? So, yeah, here's the gun. Not gonna do it. Have a nice day." like, oh my God, like absolutely perfect. I think it was completely, in his character to do so, and really all he wanted was his girl.
Mm-hmm. I need to do a future. I like to kind of like manifest things as I watch these movies and go, oh, I could see this person here and this person here, kind of like fan casting, if you will, or future sequels. Which, by the way, I'm gonna manifest a future sequel for Mr. Right a little bit later on. But can you imagine? Because I know they are planning on remaking The Crow, and The Crow is, just an iconic film. Right, that first Crow movie. The sequels, not so much, but the first Crow movie with Brandon Lee, such a great film. But if you remember, like the long-haired bad guy, the one with the sword and all that, can you imagine Anson Mount in that role for a Crow remake?
Oh, that would be great.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be so good. I have to full disclaimer on this one, and I'm going to flash back to another episode that we did. We did an episode on the movie Be Cool a while back. One of our earlier episodes, actually. There's a character in this movie, Johnny Moon. I could not hear him say his own name, which, by the way, he would reference himself in the third person, like continuously through this film. I could not hear him say Johnny Moon without hearing Steven Tyler's voice in my head going, Linda Moon, like seriously. And now you're hearing it yourself too, like Johnny Moon. Yeah, no, but Michael Eklund like really played this well. Like, here's a guy who's just like, the crazy, right? If Vaughn is, like the aspirational, younger brother who's trying to usurp power from his older brother, and here's like the crazy. You have to think, right? Like when the cameras aren't rolling, like Johnny Moon is sitting there going, "No, man, no, you can run this business. You know you can. You know you better than Richie. You know you better than Richie. I know you better than Richie. Johnny Moon knows you better than Richie." Like, I just felt like I sounded like Vince Vaughn there at a Be Cool for a second, but you have to think like Johnny Moon is probably that little. I'm just picturing the little dog that walks beside the big dog in the old Looney Tunes cartoon. It's like, you can get him. Yeah, you so big, you so tough. Yeah, you can get him, kind of thing. He's that kind of character. And I can't believe I just made a Looney Tunes reference to a Sam Rockwell and Anna Kendrick film, but here we are today. But he was a ton of fun. As far as the directing goes, like as much as I was surprised that Katie Nara hasn't acted since this film, I'm surprised at how little, as far as theatrical release movies go, Paco Cabezas has not directed more theatrical release films. I wonder, because this is a fun, well-paced, well-shot, well-directed film. Like I don't understand why some of these directors who have proven that they can do a damn good job, why they're not doing more movies. And maybe it's just because TV's an easier project to jump in, just go in, direct one episode of a series and then go on to another one, kind of thing. Because a movie is a much longer process than going in and doing, maybe a week's worth of shooting for one episode. I mean, I don't know. Right? I really don't know. But
I think I read that they shot this in 7 weeks.
Yeah.
Which to me seems really quick. I mean, considering, especially at the end, I'm sure there's a lot of choreography that had to be
choreography
place.
and a whole lot of rain from the rain machine, because you know they had like, you know, the overhead rain machine like set to full kind of thing, because it felt a little flash dancey to me at the end. I'm not gonna lie.
What was strange is like the scene, same day, right, same hour, when Francis was outside speaking with Steve, and it was like bright and sunny, and then it's pouring rain by the time Hopper shows up.
Right.
So,
it was of the $8 million budget, $1 million alone was spent on water for that one fight scene. That's I'm putting it out there.
Maybe they broke a sprinkler. Maybe
Yeah.
it was a sprinkler instead of rain. I don't know. It was weird.
It was, you know, an absurd amount of rain from the rain machine, because it's not even like it was dark out. Like if you go back and watch, I think it's like the first Lethal Weapon film, and there's the big fight at the end with Mel Gibson and like, you know, the main baddie on the, you know, on the lawn of Danny Glover's house, and there's like literally a torrential downpour of rain. It's like, yeah, you went a little bit much on the rain. And same thing here. Like, it's like, no, we're going to have the fight in the rain. All the rain. We're going to spend all the rain on this. Like.
But it was even coming into the house. Like, Anna Kendrick was in the house.
Yeah.
And like there's water coming through. So that kind of made me think it was a sprinkler or some kind of like water main that broke.
It did. It felt a little like almost like, I wonder if there's a deleted scene where it explains why there's so much water coming down. But as far as the production goes for this one, we got to talk about the soundtrack. This soundtrack is stupid catchy and boppy. Like, if you're not tapping your toes while you're watching this film, you clearly have the sound off, because it's not an iconic soundtrack. Like, as I went through the listings, I think I only recognized like Meghan Trainor as far as artists on the soundtrack, but there's some bops on this one.
The songs that they chose for scenes was brilliant. Like even in the convention center where they were setting up for the wedding. What was the song that they played? Do you remember?
Oh, I can't even remember, but
anyway, it was absolutely perfect. The editing for it, as they're losing each one of the guys, it was so good.
There was obviously a lot of thought put into this as far as, you know, music and visuals meshing together as far as the action and the choreography goes. It was almost Baby Driver-esque in that the music itself is a character in the film. Not as much as Baby Driver, but it definitely helps drive the bus on a lot of the scenes and really justifies the litheness of Sam Rockwell's performance through this, the fact that he's dancing through the whole thing. We talked a little bit earlier about, like at the beginning of the film, about not understanding why the critics only gave this a 44% on the tomatometer. But I have an idea. If I may moot an idea with you.
Moot away.
Something about this film, and aside from the fact that it's, you know, clearly one of those films that has found its life on streaming because it was only released in 35 screens.
If they're getting paid per play, I can attribute to at least 20 by now.
Sadly, it's probably like Spotify rates, where it's like, yep, you have just given them 0.37, hundredths of a cent kind of thing. But it feels like one of those films. If this movie came out in like the early to mid 90s, it's a blockbuster regular. Like, it's one of those films that people are going to be renting on a regular basis. They're going to buy it used from the Blockbuster, because we got shelves of DVDs and VHS where we just bought used from the Blockbuster. But
some still in packaging.
Yes, because we're the ones who are like, oh yeah, no, I got to have that. Now I have it. Now I never have time to watch it. Clearly we need more time to watch movies, you know, and now we have a movie podcast, so we can do that. But it almost feels like, I wonder if this film came out in the 90s, like if you were able to, you know, put everyone into a TARDIS and then bring them over, you know, David Tennant's TARDIS, and then bring them into the 90s and be able to release this film then with the same cast, the same soundtrack, the same, like the same movie, in that 90s era where movies like Reality Bites and Pulp Fiction are out, and this film feels more like that era. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why people are watching this going, well, this film feels about, maybe a decade, 2 decades too late.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a very much younger Tim Roth,
No, I'm just saying, like, put them in the time machine. Put them in the time machine so you have a, near cryogenically frozen, Sam Rockwell and Anna Kendrick. So I'm just saying, like, this movie feels more like a 90s film. And maybe that's why. Maybe it's just one of those things where, critics are expecting something and not expecting something that's almost like a throwback. I remember reading as I was going through my notes and whatnot, reading a lot of people compare this to a Gross Point Blank, because of course you have John Cusack as a hitman with Minnie Driver, and that's the funny thing. Like John Cusack and Minnie Driver in Gross Point Blank, you could argue is like a decade later, and it is very much Sam Rockwell and Anna Kendrick in this film. Just again separated by a decade or so at least. Like it feels like a movie that would have been done, would have fared much better and probably would have been a wider theatrical release had it been released in the 90s.
All I can say is missed opportunity, because apparently this movie debuted at the TIFF.
Really?
It was apparently on the ending day. So it was like a closing movie. And all I can think is, if I had known now how much I absolutely love this movie, and if I had been there, to have been a fly on the wall and to see the reception when it's first released, I think that would have been cool. Because keep in mind, I think I only found this movie, again, it was like a Netflix, trending now. And I was like, what is this movie? And
I'm sick and I want something funny to watch.
Yeah.
That's literally, I think, how it went.
That's
right?
exactly it.
Like it's almost like you take the voice remote control going, I'm sick, give me something fun, and this is the movie that should pop up. I'm surprised that it was at TIFF. I don't see this as a festival film, but I like this as a last day of a festival film, because you want to end on something fun and light and as much of a bop as it is. And I think that's the key thing, right? If you want something where you're going to watch actors look like they're having fun through the making of the film, because they really did, especially Sam Rockwell and Anna Kendrick. They looked like they were having a ton of fun while making the film, and that conveys on screen, that conveys in those characters and why they're very watchable and very, they're just fun. They're just fun, and this movie is just fun. Like, it is an hour and a half of a brain vacation, and that's always a good thing. So clearly, we like the film, but it comes time though. All right, we got to put one above all. So, Carrie, who is your MVP of Mr. Right?
Oh, and I can't do a 3-way tie.
No 3 ways.
You know what?
It didn't work for Anna Kendrick in the beginning of the film. It's not going to work here. No 3 ways.
Okay, you're probably not going to have seen this coming. I'm going to go with Sophie, the roommate.
Really? Katie Nara.
You know what? If I can't, and I cannot choose between Sam Rockwell, Anna Kendrick, and Tim Roth, so I'm just going to go this route and give her the respect that is due. I'm going to petition for her to do more acting. Like, where did you go, girl? Like, we need more, because she was so lovely. Like, she was, again, I could see her very much being, she had definitely a, why am I so blank?
Because you're not feeling well. That's okay. But I do.
I'm blanking out.
I do agree. Like, her portrayal of Sophie in this is just, there's just so much fun. I would love to see her in, a Euro trip or a road trip kind of comedy. Like, I think that she would bring so much fun to like an ensemble comedy film. So we're now going to manifest Katie Nara into an ensemble comedy film. And, if you want to bring Anna Kendrick, you go right ahead. We cool with that. You mentioned that you cannot pick between Sam Rockwell, Anna Kendrick, and Tim Roth. I can, because my MVP is Sam Rockwell. I deliberated on this one mentally because
and I approve.
Right? Because I did. I thought for a while, I was like, Anna Kendrick really stands out in this. Like she is a ton of fun. She's a ton of fun in every role that she takes. But there's just something about Sam Rockwell. There really is. In this, this is very much a Sam Rockwell role. And, if you think about, seeing an actor that you like, as far as what they can do on screen, the performances that they give, and for them to basically give you the performance that you have mentally, attached to this actor, yes, this is how I see Sam Rockwell. This is how I like Sam Rockwell best. He's given me the most Sam Rockwell that I ever want out of a Sam Rockwell. This is my Sam Rockwell, and he is Mr. Right in this. There's no question. That said, though, I want a sequel.
Yes,
I want a sequel.
I want the Mrs. Right. I want to see Anna Kendrick step it up.
No, I mean, here is my pitch. Okay, here's my pitch. So, Max, Paco, if you guys are listening, Sam, Anna, Katie, Steve, the RZA,
Tim Roth, hi.
Here's my pitch. Okay, Steve is no longer a Craigslist contractor. He's the guy running the show. He's got his own organization, and he's got a problem that he's taking care of. So Steve hires Francis and Martha in order to do a job. Okay. But Francis still has his moral code, and they get to a point in the job where someone's got to be killed in order for the mission to be complete. Now, Francis is a big fan of Steve, they're buddy. They didn't kill each other. It's all good. So it's one of the things where if he lets Steve down and doesn't kill the guy, does he then have to go kill Steve because Steve basically told him that in order to do this, you have to do this, right? So there's that moral dilemma. Does Francis kill for Steve? Or does Martha kill for Steve? Or do they? And if they choose not to, do they go back and kill Steve because Steve was the one that told them they have to kill somebody?
Wow, you've really thought this out.
I have. I'm manifesting Mr. Right too. Make this happen. And by the way, if it does happen like that and we're not invited to the red carpet on all 35 screens, then I am going to stomp my feet, go and lock myself into a closet with a whole whack of booze for about 2 days and just don't make eye contact with me.
I call that a Tuesday.
Okay. It was 1 month of Tuesdays and you had to bring it up.
Okay. You know what? I see it differently, and you've really thought out, more of a plot, but I want the movie to be titled Mrs. Right. I want to see Anna Kendrick I want to see more, unhinged, off the chain, crazy Anna Kendrick. I want to see something. I want to see something awful. I want, and I did the dinosaur arms too, by the way. I want to see something bad happen, not to Francis, but I want to see him in a bad situation where, she has to step up and
go full T-Rex.
Save him, right? She becomes his, I don't know, she saves him and then they get married and live happily ever after. And,
you have to think they're already something happens to Francis on, leading up to their wedding day, and she ain't going to have it because then it's almost like the worst bridezilla possible.
Right.
You did this to my fiance. I'm going to make you pay.
Right. And
See?
I just flashed back to Sonic 2, with the bridezilla there. But
right.
You know what? That would be so great. That would be so incredible that, I think she needs to save him. And kind of she did, right? Like it was very much mutual. And they set it up nicely.
Well,
at the end scene. Where's the girl? He
saved her in the first one by helping show her what she has inside and her abilities, and that inherent talent and basically dragging that out of her. Now it's time for her to save him. And I you know what? If either of those movies get made, I'm all for it. Like, 'cause Mr. Right 2 should happen. Spend the $8 million. It's all good. Netflix, I know you're having some issues. You might want to listen to this podcast and say,
that's a very good idea. We should do that. Just send them a t-shirt. They'll be fine. They'll be fine.
Just start writing the checks. Make it happen.
Right. You can send all checks to it's not that bad.pod@gmail.no. Okay, but you can find us on Twitter at not that badcast. But so by the way, if you want to play along and there's a movie that you think is unfairly maligned, or you think is so bad that there's no way in hell that we can find anything good to say about it, hit us up on Twitter at NotThatBadCast. We will watch it, we will dissect it, and we will find the good things to say in these poorly rated gems of films. Carrie, thank you so much for fighting through not feeling 100% and toughing it through and basically defending your Sickie movie. To our listeners, thank you so much wherever you are listening to us, whether it be Spotify, Apple, Google, Good Pods, however you listen to your podcast. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is It's Not That Bad. Until next time, I'm Jay. She's Carrie. Take care.
Hey folks, Stefan Shirazi and Renee Richardson here from the Metallica Report.
And we are proud members of the Pantheon podcast family, where the best of music and podcasts unite.
We've got something pretty cool for you. We're giving away an exclusive Metallica merch package worth over $250.
That's a whole lot of Scary Guys, Skulls, M72, and other sought-after Metallica swag. And we've made it easy for you to win. Follow and share the Metallica Report, and you're in the game. Go to pantheonpodcast.com/Metallica, enter your email, and hit that button to be entered to win.
And just like that, you're eligible for our monthly exclusive Metallica merch package.
And guess what, rockers? You can enter every month, so just do it. And while we love our global brothers and sisters, the lawyers won't let us ship outside the U.S.